Hello, Mark and Teresa from Out Office Camping. Now, you may notice if you follow our channel, this video is clearly out of order, but we wanted to take the time and show you some of the areas that we've traveled. Raccoon Creek State Park is up in Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh area, and it's a really nice park. It's a little dated in some ways, but there's a lot of campsites. There's a total of 6 loops and 5 bathhouses. So it's pretty amazing. You can do all kinds of stuff. There's also cabins. There's hiking, 44 miles of trails. The lake itself is really incredible. 101 acres of lake, which you can boat or fish. And the Frankfort Mineral Springs is really what this park's known for. So we're going to take a little trail hike to that, and you'll get to see that shortly. There's also a bunch of homesteads, which I'm going to show you some incredible stonework. And, you know, this is just a nice area to travel to if you are up in that area of Pennsylvania. So let's go ahead and get started here as we take a little trip down to the lake. One of the main reasons we chose this campground was that we were able to meet up with my brother-in-law and my sister. Since they're from Michigan, they were able to work their way down, and it was almost like a halfway point. So it was really wonderful. Now, Raccoon Creek State Park has a 110-acre lake, which once again you can do kayaking, boating, all kinds of stuff. You can even do swimming, fishing. So it's a really nice area. Now, we were here obviously closer to the end of the season, so everything was shut down. But as you can see in this footage here, it is incredibly large and really just beautiful, especially when the leaves start changing. It's October 8th, 2020, and I'm at the park office at Raccoon Creek State Park, right above Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, up in the mountains. And I want to show you some of the CCC stonework that's here, which is really amazing. We're going to start off with taking a look at some of the shaped stones here. Great example from that time period on this bridge. So, okay, what I wanted to show you here is this bridge right here is a great example of some of the different shaping that each stonemason did. Now you can see the different cross hatches here on this stone, and we're going to walk all the way down because each stone has its own signature style, and that was based off of the mason producing it. Now those masons typically were compensated for their stones in other types of trades. The CCC period, if this project was a CCC period built, these individual men were actually learning a trade. So it's really amazing. You see this has the long single basically hash marks, and let's walk down a bit so you can see each individual stone as we go. Just like I said, it's just a great example of the different types of styles. So once again, traditionally most of these masons would get paid for their stone when they shaped them, but this was a little bit different. So really just an amazing example in one location. So if you have a chance, you're up here at the park, you can see it. Look at this one. This one's really pretty cool because basically they have the small dimples here, almost like used with a pointer, and then they have the really smooth edge. And that's possible with the smooth edge. You're trying to define a specific shape. This bridge might have been rebuilt, and then that stone, once again, it's kind of almost like an illusion of a stone. They changed the design. But just really amazing stuff with these patterns. These are almost like a long hatch, which is pretty cool. Another great example of the small little dimples on this one and this one. But if you really look at the two, they're still completely different. And then this one has the visual cross hatches going down, and then the one next to it actually has more of a has the lines, but you can see the directions that they're going across, down, across. And basically they did these different techniques in order to get a nice flat face on the stone. And then also, you know, it is a sandstone, so most likely it's very soft, but they also had to shape the edges in order to get them somewhat square. This one's really neat here because you can see how they did the tops with those long marks. You know, once again, these are all signatures of the mason who is actually doing the shaping of the stone. So you could look at a stone, you could determine whose style it was. This one itself is, wow, it's just incredible. Same thing, it's got the edging here, the edging here, and the edging down here. So as we move along, you know, this one's just a little bit of mix of everything. And then same thing here. Now a lot of the tops, you know, just over the years from, you know, being a sandstone, they've just gotten weathered out. So the sides have not received as much of the weathering from the elements. But this one's pretty wild here because if you look, it's got the small little dimples here at the top, and then it's got the little cross hatches. And then same thing, just big marks. This one's actually got its lines and then also has its dimples. But it's neat because you see all the dimples here in the middle, but then you see the lines off to the sides. So just a great example. Now if you happen to be walking down the lake trail, you might spot this unusual structure. And at first glance you don't think much of it, but what's pretty amazing if you come up close to it, this is actually most likely a water supply or a drinking source. Now obviously at some point, I think later, they put in the pipe, but initially if you look at this design, how it's channeled, they probably had the water coming off the top, coming here, just a natural flow, and then flowing into this where you could actually get what you needed to, and then it went out from there. But what's actually more surprising is when you see the structure, you don't really realize there's actually something back up there in the woods. So let's go take a walk. Look. Now, wow, this is absolutely amazing. Just look at that stonework. Look at that roof and that peak. Just incredible. So it's really pretty neat. There's actually spring behind it. We'll walk up, take a look at that really quick here. There's your spring supply, which obviously has been updated because it has brick in it. But if we turn around, I'm not sure if you can see that yet. 1846. That's crazy. Beautiful, beautiful. Now a few things I've noticed here on these, on top of this lintel here, you have a stone that's cut out over top the windows and even the doorway down there. Take a look at this one. So I'm not certain, but I would take a guess this had something to do with the maybe like the wooden framing for that either door or window. Be a big window. Well, let's walk back around here and just take a look at that, which is really pretty amazing. Now, there's a few things that I've noticed so far. For example, on the stones that kind of come in, they're curved in, so that basically the next block that sits next to them is also curved. So if mortar, it allows maybe the mortar to sit between the joints better instead of them being so flat. You can kind of see it a bit more over on these right here, right in the bottom. Getting a little closer. So these guys, you can see how it's actually cut in. So traditionally they might have like a bull nose, and even this one is, the face is cut in, and even that one's cut in. And then the opposite sides, same thing. So I don't do wet work, but it would lead me to believe it will allow the mortar to get into those joints, and but I'll still allow your faces to be really super tight on your edges. Obviously a doorway here. And then this must have been the top, because you can see same thing. There's a little cutout right there. And then, so just a great example. Spin back around, what you may have not noticed before, but there's actually a ledge right here. Coming around, the ledge goes up to there. Kind of drops back down right here. And then goes up. And then comes back down. So if I had to take a guess, it could have been a floor of some sort. You know, it's interesting, they dropped the pipe down there. So I'm not sure if it was, you know, this would be quite an extreme spring house if that was the case, which it's hard to say what it is. Maybe I'll find out by the time I get this ready to put up on the channel. But just amazing, amazing example. And then clearly at some point, obviously, a stone let loose, and then, you know, even this wall here, just everything just kind of fell out over time. All right, so let's go take a look at some dry stack stone walls next. Here we see some incredible examples of, I believe, maybe 90 years or older dry laid stone walls along the trail heading back towards the lake. Now, these stones are just huge and clearly well placed, but it's just a great example of a dry laid stone retaining wall which is still holding strong after all these years. Look at that one. Look how long that is. That's easily 4 feet plus, you know. I mean, some nice big solid. Even the top of this wall, I mean, look how well the top of that wall is just, oh, look at that. Look how nice that is all the way down. The Frankfort Mineral Springs was basically how this area got established. It's a really incredible opportunity to head back. It's about a 1.5 mile loop to head back, check out the springs here. There's a nice little waterfall, and the water is always a consistent temperature. But, you know, this area became really well known because of these springs. It was believed to be, you know, in health, healing water for the most part. And so basically in the 1800s, you know, wealthy visitors came from all over, and, you know, if they were ill, they would drink the water and in belief that they would be better. And these are some of the remains of the CCC period up on top of the hill. Some of the old structures, that supposedly was the mess hall, so it was said, and that's the only thing remaining of that. Some of the other buildings are still in use today, and many of them are decaying. Do the shimmy shimmy. That wasn't it. Thank you so much for coming along with us on our little trip to Raccoon Creek State Park. We look forward to seeing you soon. Be sure to check out the 2 links we have on both the Airstream with my sister and then also the Iceco cooler, catching sun in the shade. Take care.